Welcome viewers to another exciting adventure into the life of yet another historical figure. This man rose through the political and military ranks of the Roman Republic either by building relations with people of noble families or by showing his courage and skills on the battlefield. Yes, folks, I am talking about the great Julius Caesar, whose name we still hear to this day, whether it is from theater, education, or more surprisingly, the calendar, where the month of July was named after Julius Caesar. Coincidentally, there is even a legal term to describe a form of government led by a strong leader with centralized power. This is called Caesarism. Anyways, before I get into the good stuff, let's have a look at his early life. Caesar was born on the 12th of July 100 BCE to the gens Julia, a patrician family with a long but not particularly wealthy or influential history at the time of his birth. The exact location within Rome where Caesar was born is not known, but it would have been in a residence appropriate for a family of his social standing. His family connections provided him with a foundation in Roman society, but he had to build his career largely through his own efforts. This just shows how similar Caesar was to any other ordinary person, and this just goes to show that anyone has the ability to get where they want in life if they have the discipline, determination, and the commitment to follow through. The historical figures that we look at on this channel didn't suddenly emerge, they made a name for themselves and we can too. Anyway, let us continue. Not much is documented about Julius Caesar's early life, but we do know something about his parents. His father Gaius Julius Caesar was a senator and a praetor, which were respectable positions but weren't the highest positions in Roman politics. For those unsure, a praetor was a high-ranking official in the Roman Republic, serving just below the level of consul in the hierarchy of Roman magistracies. The position of praetor was both judicial and administrative, and it played a crucial role in the governance of Rome. There were two types: praetor urbanus, which was responsible for legal cases involving Roman citizens, and praetor peregrinus, which was responsible for cases involving non-citizens and disputes between citizens and non-citizens. Praetors held imperium, which was the authority to command armies and govern provinces. This power was second only to the consul, so when a consul was unavailable, a praetor could be assigned to command a military force. The provincial governance employed during this time is similar to today's voting systems, where praetors were chosen by a party. In this case it was the Comitia Centuriata, which was a popular party and translates to Centuriate Assembly. And of course, what differs is that it wasn't ordinary people voting. It wasn't a democracy as we know it today. Anyways, the praetors were selected annually, ranging from 2 people from the start of the Roman Republic to 8 people towards the end of the Roman Republic. The term of office was typically 1 year, after which they often took up provincial governorships. I hope this helps you to understand where in the Roman Republic, Julius Caesar's father stood. Back to the main topic, Julius Caesar lost his father at an early age of 15 in 85 BCE. A year after this, Caesar married Cornelia, who was the daughter of Lucius Cornelius Cinna, a prominent Roman politician and ally of Gaius Marius. Marius and Cinna were leaders of the Populares, a political faction that supported the rights of the common people against the conservative interests of the Senate, which was dominated by the Optimates. Sulla, who was a dictator of Rome, didn't approve of this marriage and demanded that Julius divorced her. Julius refused, risking his life and fortune. So folks, on one side we have Julius Caesar fighting for the rights of those less fortunate than him, and on the other side, we have a dictator who would rather see the people beneath him suffer. During the civil war, Marius died in 86 BCE and Cinna continued the fight until 84 BCE, where he was eventually killed by his own soldiers. It's important for you to know that Marius actually died of natural causes. He was 70 years old and in poor health, serving his unprecedented 7th term as consul. Although he had been a hero to the common people and a successful military leader, his later years were overshadowed by his harsh reprisals against his enemies during the civil wars. His death allowed his rivals, particularly Sulla, to regroup and eventually dominate Roman politics. But that's not his fault, and I don't believe he should be blamed for it. Moving on, Caesar, despite being only around 18 years old and not yet holding any significant political power, refused Sulla's order. This decision was incredibly risky. By defying Sulla, Caesar could have faced execution or exile, but he stood by his marriage, showing early signs of his resolve and political instincts. This demand was not as simple as you may think, and it is seen as symbolic as it meant Caesar cutting his ties with the Populares and pledging allegiance to the Optimates. Sulla was reportedly impressed by Caesar's determination, though he is said to have remarked that, in this young man there are many Mariuses, suggesting that he saw the potential for Caesar to become a significant future threat. Despite his usual ruthlessness, Sulla ultimately spared Caesar, likely due to pressure from his influential family members and his mother, Aurelia. If you are still following, then I am glad that I have been able to spark your curiosity. Also, consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with newer content. If you have any queries, leave a comment and I will try my best to answer them. Moving on, to avoid Sulla's wrath, Caesar briefly left Rome and served in the military in Asia Minor, where he began to build his reputation as a capable and ambitious leader. For those unsure, Asia Minor is Anatolia, which makes up most of modern-day Turkey. Julius's refusal to divorce Cornelia not only solidified his ties with the populares but also set the stage for his later opposition to the Senate's authority. Cornelia remained Caesar's wife until her death in 69 BCE, and they had one child together, Julia, who later became an important political instrument in Caesar's alliances. Caesar served under the command of Marcus Minucius Thermus, the governor of Asia, a Roman province in what is now western Turkey. This assignment placed him in a region that was strategically important to Rome, particularly given its proximity to the Kingdom of Pontus, ruled by Mithridates VI, a formidable enemy of Rome. I think it's important to remember Julius's place in all of this, as he was young at the time and not very well known. He didn't have much power, so he had to prove himself time and time again to earn the respect of his comrades. Caesar was awarded the civic crown, one of Rome's highest military honors, for saving the life of a fellow soldier during the siege. The civic crown was made of oak leaves and was given to a Roman citizen who had saved the life of another Roman in battle while holding the position they were assigned. This award was prestigious, signifying not only bravery but also a deep commitment to the Roman state. I think this also shows how honorable Julius Caesar is, as he is seeking power and status but he isn't sacrificing anyone else for it. The civic crown was awarded publicly and could be worn at public events. Those who received it were accorded high respect. In Caesar's case, this early recognition helped bolster his reputation among his peers and superiors. Winning the civic crown also provided Caesar with a level of prestige that would aid him in his later political career. It marked him as a person of note, capable of both courage and leadership, qualities that would be crucial as he navigated the complex and often dangerous world of Roman politics. Caesar's military service in Asia Minor ended around 78 BCE, shortly after the death of Sulla. With Sulla out of the picture, the political climate in Rome changed, and Caesar felt it was safe to return once again. His experiences in Asia, combined with the recognition he received, helped set the stage for his future rise in Roman politics. Sulla died of natural causes. This goes to show that Caesar was smart in the way he directed his courage and knew when he was outmatched. Because of his patience, a major obstacle had been removed in his rise to power. Before moving on to the next arc of Caesar's life, I want to talk about when Caesar was held captive by pirates during his military service. This was before he earned the civic crown, but I still see this as significant to Caesar's story. While traveling from Rome to Asia Minor to fulfill his military duties, Caesar was captured by Cilician pirates. Cilician pirates were notorious for their raids in the Mediterranean, and they had become a significant problem for Rome's maritime interests. The pirates demanded a ransom of 20 talents of silver, which was a substantial sum, for Caesar's release. Caesar, who was relatively wealthy and confident, responded with an audacious attitude. He reportedly laughed at the ransom demand, telling the pirates that they had vastly underestimated his worth and that he would instead pay them 50 talents. He also promised that he would come back to punish them once he was free. Caesar's friends and family quickly raised the required ransom and secured his release. True to his word, once free, Caesar took immediate action. He used his considerable personal wealth to commission and fund a fleet of ships. Caesar then set out to track down the pirates. He pursued them across the Aegean Sea, showing considerable naval and strategic acumen. His campaign was successful. He captured the pirates and took them back to Asia Minor. In a dramatic show of retribution, Caesar had the captured pirates crucified. The crucifixion was a common Roman method of execution for criminals and slaves, intended to serve as a deterrent to others. Caesar's decision to crucify the pirates may have been influenced by a desire to demonstrate his authority and fulfill his vow. It also served to underscore his resolve and capability to take decisive action, reinforcing his growing reputation. This episode was significant in Caesar's early career as it showcased his determination and ability to act decisively under challenging circumstances. It also helped to cement his reputation as a man of action and leadership. The incident with the pirates helped Caesar build connections and gain influence among the Roman elite and military circles. It demonstrated his ability to take bold risks and achieve his goals, qualities that would be essential in his subsequent political and military career. In 69 BCE, Caesar became a quaestor, which was a public official. He served in Spain. This was the same year his wife Cornelia died. He also married Pompeia in 67 BCE, 2 years later. This marriage is significant because Pompeia was the granddaughter of Sulla, a person who Caesar fought against in the civil war and the same person who made Caesar feel unsafe in his own country. In 65 BCE, Caesar was elected as aedile and was responsible for public games and buildings. He gained popularity by hosting lavish games. In 62 BCE, Caesar became a praetor, which was the same position his father had. Also, Julius divorced Pompeia after a scandal involving her and another man during a religious festival. In 61 BCE, Caesar was appointed governor of Spain, where he gained military experience and wealth. In 60 BCE, Caesar formed the First Triumvirate, a political alliance with Pompey and Crassus, two of Rome's most powerful men. In 59 BCE, Caesar was elected consul, the highest elected political office in the Roman Republic, and passed key legislation with the support of his allies. With Caesar at the height of his power, he would go on to lead many conquests. Continue watching to figure out how his story concludes. The Gallic Wars began in 58 BCE and ended in 50 BCE. These wars expanded the Roman territory to the English Channel and the Rhine River. He defeated various Gallic tribes. In 53 BCE, Crassus died and this led to a power struggle between Caesar and Pompey. The Senate supported Pompey in 50 BCE and ordered Caesar to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen. Caesar refused, leading to a confrontation. In 49 BCE, Caesar crossed the Rubicon River with his army, effectively declaring war on the Senate and Pompey. This act starts the Roman Civil War. I think it is important to understand how far Caesar has come in his rise to power, as he was able to influence others to help him start a war with Pompey. In 48 BCE, Caesar defeated Pompey at the Battle of Pharsalus. Pompey fled to Egypt, where he was assassinated. Throughout the next year, Caesar traveled to Egypt, where he became involved in the civil war between Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy XIII. He supported Cleopatra, with whom he had a son, Ptolemy XV, known as Caesarion. In 47 BCE, Caesar defeated Pharnaces II of Pontus in the Battle of Zela, famously remarking, Veni, Vidi, Vici, which translates to, I came, I saw, I conquered. In 46 BCE, Caesar returned to Rome, where he was appointed dictator for 10 years. He initiated various reforms, including the Julian calendar. In 45 BCE, Caesar defeated the last of the Pompeian forces at the Battle of Munda in Spain. He was later appointed dictator for life by the Senate. In 44 BCE, on March 15, known as the Ides of March, Julius Caesar was assassinated by a group of senators, including Brutus and Cassius, who feared his growing power and potential monarchy. His death leads to another series of civil wars. After his death, Caesar is deified by the Roman Senate as Divus Julius. The term, divus, in Roman religion signifies someone who has been deified, or officially recognized as a god after the death. This was a significant moment in Roman history and marked the first time a Roman citizen was formally deified by the state, setting a precedent for the later emperors. In 31 BCE, the last of Caesar's assassins were defeated and the few remaining remnants of the Republican forces by his adopted heir Octavian marked the end of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. That also marks the end of Julius Caesar's rise to power. It is fascinating that he was able to accomplish so much to the point where he will be remembered in history as a great nobleman and military strategist. This story just goes to show how much potential we all have. Well, folks, that's enough history for today. If you are still here, I am glad you have enjoyed this endeavor, as have I. Please consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with newer content.